Stupid studio interference messing with the director's vision. Hey everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome to Watch Mojo. Today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 extended director's cuts that made a movie better.
This is as much yours as it is mine. I'd be proud if you flipped it.
I couldn't possibly.
Well, don't be ridiculous.
It all belongs to you.
But you spent hours.
George, it was your idea. You were the instigator.
Shall we go for a ride?
That means we're looking at various director's cuts and extended versions that made the movie far better than its theatrical counterpart. All right, let's get to the list. If you like what you're hearing, be sure to check out the full song at the link below.
Baby, for snow, yes. Baby, you like it. Cocoa on my lips. Don't know how to grill. Mommy on my wrist.
Number 10, The Current War. This movie should have been better than it was.
You think I'm being absurd?
It recounts the electric rivalry between Thomas Edison and George Westinghouse, and it stars the likes of Benedict Cumberbatch, Michael Shannon, and Tom Holland. Despite the intriguing historical premise and outstanding cast, the movie was rushed through post-production and received poor reviews when it debuted at TIFF in 2017. Following that, director Alfonso Gomez-Rejon raised enough money to film some reshoots and trimmed roughly 10 minutes from the movie.
I really don't think it can be done.
Why?
Because he would have already done it.
The result was the Current War Director's Cut, which was theatrically released in October 2019. While it still wasn't great by any means, it was a heck of a lot better than the festival version. Actually, completing a movie will do that.
Soon all these people will have electric light and no one will even remember it ever happened.
Number 9, Once Upon a Time in America. For the most blatant and egregious example of studio interference in movie history, we give you Once Upon a Time in America. This was director Sergio Leone's opus, a roughly 4-hour-long gangster epic.
Been waiting long?
All my life.
And the Ladd Company shredded it to ribbons. Due to a combination of the absurd length, concerns over the graphic violence, and the wish for more money, the distributors cut the film down to just 139 minutes.
What chance is there that a crazy thing like this might succeed?
Yeah, an hour and a half's worth of material was missing from the movie. Not only that, they completely re-edited the story into chronological order, which of course ruined the pacing, flow, and intended dramatic plotting. Luckily, the movie has since been made right, and is now regarded as a masterpiece.
It's a sure way of getting revenge.
No. It's just the way I see things.
Number 8, Daredevil. Superheroes have been ruling the cinema since the early 2000s. But Daredevil is like that one friend nobody really likes. Yeah, they're there, but nobody really pays them any attention. At least, such is the case with the theatrical version. However, an extended director's cut was released in 2004, which considerably improved the quality of the film.
Somebody's been talking.
Somebody always does.
It added roughly 30 minutes of new material, but it also cut some sequences like Matt's confessions and a love scene between Elektra and Matt.
You are so beautiful.
Included in the new material was a brand new subplot involving Coolio's Dante Jackson, a flashback scene with Matt and his adoptive mother, and more brutal and visceral violence. It was a vast improvement on a really bad movie.
I'll take it into consideration.
Number 7, Troy. Homer's Iliad deserved a better adaptation than 2004's Troy.
If they ever tell my story, let them say I walked with giants.
Luckily, that better adaptation came in the form of the 2007 director's cut. Warner Home Video pumped $1 million into its creation, which included significant edits and reintroduced 30 minutes of footage back into the movie.
I am Ajax, breaker of stones! Look upon me and despair!
This director's cut includes far more nudity and graphic violence, including a much longer and far more sickening depiction of the sacking of Troy. It also expands the story and allows for better character development, especially for Priam and Sean Bean's Odysseus, who was unfortunately sidelined in the theatrical release. More character work, more realistic violence, and more story. What's not to love?
Please, brother, we were told King Odysseus is hid in the hills.
Odysseus. That old bastard drinks my wine and never pays.
Number 6, Apocalypse Now Redux. fan opinion remains firmly divided on the necessity and quality of Redux. For some, Apocalypse Now is perfect as it is.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
For others, Redux serves as a wonderful expansion of an already fantastic film. And we say expansion lightly because Redux is like a whole new movie.
Hey, Lance, what do you think?
It's beautiful.
Of course, there is the 49 minutes worth of new material, including a second meeting with the Playmates, and an interaction with French colonists on a rubber plantation.
Communiste.
Socialiste.
Communiste, je dis.
Socialiste.
Alors, taisez-vous.
Bien. Monsieur, bonsoir.
But there's also a new score and an updated color balance, which required cinematographer Vittorio Storaro to permanently cut the original negative of the film. The results were divisive, but undeniably mesmerizing. Number 5. Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. Superman 2 suffered under a problematic production.
Why do you say this to me when you know I will kill you for it?
Director Richard Donner was fired when the movie was 75% complete, and Richard Lester was brought in to replace him. In order to receive the director's credit, Lester reshot a majority of Donner's scenes. It wasn't until 2006 that we finally saw Donner's vision, and it was glorious.
I ask you now to pronounce judgment on those accused. On this mindless aberration, whose only means of expression are wanton violence and destruction.
The Richard Donner cut is practically a different movie altogether, containing a different opening and ending, new scenes, alternate takes, and a far more serious tone.
Terribly sorry about all the damage, sir.
It's obviously a little rough around the edges, as Donner never completed his original movie, but it certainly makes for a fascinating glimpse into an alternate history, and what could have been.
If you hear me now, then you have made use of the only means left to you.
Number 4. Watchmen. When Watchmen was released in 2009, it received a divisive response. Viewers loved the style and risk-taking, but criticized the over-reliance on action and confusing narrative. Following the middling theatrical release, 2 new versions were concocted. The first was an extended director's cut, which included 20 minutes of additional footage.
Good to see you in uniform, Daniel. Should have known all you needed was a nice pair of legs to motivate you.
And then we have the ultimate cut, which took the director's cut and intertwined it with scenes from the fictional comic book Tales of the Black Freighter.
I knew again the stench of powder and men's brains and war.
The result was a 215-minute behemoth that many comic fans consider to be the definitive and most accurate version of the film. And it wouldn't be the last time fans expressed interest in seeing the director's cut of a Zack Snyder film.
Did you really think it would kill me? I have walked across the surface of the sun. I have witnessed events so tiny and so fast, they can hardly be said to have occurred at all.
Number 3. Kingdom of Heaven. Ridley Scott scored a massive hit with Gladiator. So, he returned to the swords and sandals epic genre with Kingdom of Heaven, which followed a blacksmith who fought in the Crusades. It was, no Gladiator.
Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
It currently sits at 39% on Rotten Tomatoes and performed poorly at the box office. Scott blamed the poor reaction on test audiences and studio interference, and he quickly went to work on a director's cut.
What man is a man who does not make the world better?
He reinstated 45 minutes of cut material back into the movie, and these added scenes brought much-needed character development and clearer motivations.
You know what lies in Holy Land. A new world.
It also helped expand the story and added some much-needed depth and emotion. The result was a resounding success that critics instantly hailed as far superior to the theatrical release. Number 2. Blade Runner. If there's one director who suffered under studio interference more than Zack Snyder, it's Ridley Scott. Scott's masterpiece Blade Runner was tarnished upon release, and many people were quick to write it off. A full decade later, Scott finally released his director's cut, which included the removal of Deckard's controversial voiceover and an altered ending.
Too bad she won't live. But then again, who does?
But the definitive edition came in 2007 with the final cut. This version contains improved visual effects and a brighter look. an altered unicorn sequence, more graphic violence, and a ton of little changes that make this version infinitely superior to its predecessors. 15 years later, we finally saw Ridley Scott's true creative vision, and it was a magnificent sight to behold.
All those moments will be lost in time.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Lord of the Rings franchise. It's seemingly impossible to improve upon perfection, but Peter Jackson and his team managed to do it.
I made a promise, Mr. Frodo. A promise. Don't you leave him, Samwise Gamgee. And I don't mean to.
While the theatrical cuts of these films are certainly wonderful, both the movie buffs and the Tolkien experts agree that the extended versions are the way to go.
A wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
They add so much rich material to the films, including entire subplots, extensive character work, and extended action sequences, that it's impossible to return to the theatrical editions after seeing them. Seriously, the work done to Faramir's character arc alone is enough to warrant the extended editions.
You let the enemy walk in and take it on a whim. Always you cast a poor reflection on me.
That is not my intent.
And yeah, Tom Bombadil is still absent, but is anyone really complaining about that?
You have failed. The world of men will fall.
So what do you guys think? What's your favorite extended cut? Let us know in the comments, or come talk to me on Twitter or Instagram at Rebecca Brayton. Also, be sure to like and subscribe, and please watch this other video. Do you agree with our picks? Let us know in the comments. And hey, if you're a fan of the song playing right now, be sure to check out the music video for it right here.
Money on my wrist. Bring on the aqua. What's it gonna be?